Alright guys, let's be real. Have you ever stood there, talking to a woman you really like, and suddenly felt like your brain just shuts down? Your palms get sweaty, your words stumble, and all you can think is, please, don't let me screw this up. You're not alone. Flirting can feel like a high-wire act, especially when you're worried about coming off as awkward, creepy, or, worst of all, desperate. But here's the thing, flirting doesn't have to be a minefield. In fact, with the right approach, you can flirt confidently and make her genuinely attracted to you. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, without feeling awkward. Now, let's dive deep into the heart of what makes flirting so powerful, and how to do it without that dreaded awkwardness creeping in. If you're feeling unsure or nervous, that's perfectly fine. We've all been there. But after today, you're going to walk away with a clear understanding of what flirting really is and how to master it in a way that feels natural, confident, and fun. And it all starts with what I like to call the 3 T's of flirting: teasing, touching, and tension. Let's start with teasing. Why is teasing so important when you flirt? Well, flirting is about keeping things light and playful, and teasing does exactly that. When you tease someone, you're not just making them smile or laugh, you're showing them that you're confident and comfortable. Confidence is key, because, without it, your flirting might come off as needy or insecure. But teasing? Teasing is the art of playfully showing interest while keeping her guessing just enough to make her intrigued. Think about this for a moment. Women are naturally attracted to men who introduce a bit of uncertainty. It's not because women love being confused, it's because that uncertainty keeps things exciting. If you walk up to her and make it obvious that you're ready to put her on a pedestal without even knowing her, it can be a turn-off. Why? Because there's no challenge. On the other hand, when you tease her, you're creating a sense of mystery, a subtle feeling of, this guy is interesting, what's he all about? But let's be clear, teasing should be lighthearted, never mean or cutting. There's a fine line between being playful and being rude. Teasing is about making her laugh, maybe raising her eyebrow in surprise, but it's never about making her feel bad. For example, if you're chatting with a woman and she tells you something like, "I just got this dress today," you might respond with, "It's nice. But I'm more of a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy." It's a playful way to express an opinion while adding a little tease. You're not insulting her, you're just showing that you're not immediately in awe of everything she says or does. And that's an important point. Teasing works because it signals that you're confident enough to not be overly eager. You're essentially telling her, "Hey, I'm interested, but I'm not desperate." Women find this attractive because it shows that you're in control of your emotions and your reactions. Here's another example. Let's say you've just met a woman at a party, and you're both standing by the bar. She mentioned she loves wine, and instead of just nodding along, you tease her a little. "Wine, huh? I bet you're one of those who pretends to know what all those fancy wine terms mean." If she laughs, she's into the playful tone you've set. And if she's really into you, she'll play along, maybe by pretending to be a wine expert or teasing you right back. This back and forth creates a fun, engaging dynamic that can deepen the connection between you. Now, when teasing, you also have to be mindful of the line. Never make the teasing too personal, especially when you don't know her well. Avoid teasing about things she might genuinely be insecure about, like her looks, body, or intelligence. The idea is to flirt in a way that's fun, not to make her feel self-conscious. Teasing also works because it keeps her engaged. When you tease her, you create a game, a playful interaction that makes her want to keep talking to you. And remember, the best flirts are the ones who can make flirting feel effortless and fun, like a dance where both partners are having a great time. Next, let's talk about touching. Now, physical touch is a critical part of flirting, but I know this is where a lot of guys start to feel anxious. You might be thinking, how do I touch her without coming off as creepy? Or what if I misread the situation? Trust me, I get it. But here's the thing, physical touch, when done right, is one of the most powerful ways to build a connection and create attraction. So, how do you touch without making it awkward? The rule of thumb is, touch early, touch often, and touch appropriately. When you meet a woman, it's important to break the touch barrier early on. This helps create a sense of familiarity and comfort. But you don't want to dive in with heavy or inappropriate touches. Start light and neutral, something as simple as a quick touch on the arm when she makes a joke or a gentle pat on the shoulder when you're emphasizing a point. These kinds of touches are non-threatening and won't make her feel uncomfortable. One of the easiest ways to break the touch barrier early is to pay attention to her accessories. Let's say she's wearing a bracelet or a ring. You can lightly touch her hand while saying, "That's a cool ring, what's the story behind it?" This is a subtle way to initiate contact while keeping things casual. You're showing interest, but it doesn't feel forced or awkward. And as she becomes more comfortable with you, you can gradually increase the frequency and duration of these touches. Another important thing to keep in mind is where you're touching her. There are safe zones and areas to avoid, especially early on. Safe zones include her arm, shoulder, or upper back. These areas are neutral and don't feel overly intimate. Areas to avoid? Well, obviously, stay away from anything too personal, her face, neck, or lower back, and definitely avoid touching her in any areas. If you start by touching her in places that feel too intimate, you'll make her uncomfortable, and the entire interaction will feel forced. The key with touch is to create a sense of comfort and connection. As you touch her lightly throughout the conversation, you're signaling to her that you're confident and comfortable with physical contact, and that you're okay with her being comfortable too. But remember, don't overdo it. Too much touch, too soon, can come off as aggressive or creepy. The idea is to let the touching flow naturally as the conversation deepens and the connection grows. One way to build on this is to linger your touch slightly longer than what feels normal. For instance, if you touch her hand or arm, let your hand linger there for a second or two longer than it should. It's subtle, but it builds a slight sense of tension, which brings me to my next point. Finally, we have tension. And by tension, I mean tension. This is where a lot of guys mess up. They can chat, tease, and even touch, but they forget to introduce the energy that creates a deeper attraction. If there's no tension, you're going to end up in the dreaded friend zone. You don't want to be the guy she sees as a fun buddy, you want to be the guy she feels drawn to, the one who stirs up that chemistry. But how do you introduce tension without overdoing it? It's all in the little things. Tension isn't about being overtly right out of the gate, it's about subtle hints, eye contact, body language, and sometimes just the way you say things. Let's start with eye contact. When you hold her gaze just a little longer than feels normal, you create an unspoken connection. You don't have to say anything, but that extended eye contact signals that there's something more going on beneath the surface. And when you combine that with a slight, playful smile or a wink, you're telling her, "I see you, and I like what I see." Another great way to build tension is with your body language. Stand close enough to her that there's a sense of intimacy, but don't crowd her. Lean in slightly when she's talking, and don't be afraid to let there be a bit of physical closeness. This signals that you're comfortable being near her, and it creates a sense of chemistry. Then, of course, there's the art of innuendo. Now, I know this can feel tricky. You don't want to come off as creepy, but you also don't want to be so safe that the tension disappears completely. The trick is to start small. Drop in a playful comment that hints at something without being explicit. For example, if you're talking about staying up late, you might say, "I don't usually stay out this late, but I might make an exception for the right kind of company." It's flirty, it's suggestive, but it's not crossing any lines. Gauge her reaction carefully. If she's into it, she'll play along, maybe give you a playful look or make a teasing comment back. If she seems unsure or pulls back, ease off. The key is to build tension gradually, tease her, touch her, and let the tension grow naturally. One important thing to remember, tension doesn't have to mean being aggressive or over the top. Sometimes it's the smallest things that create the biggest impact. Holding eye contact, a lingering touch, or a well-placed comment can be all you need to turn a friendly conversation into something much more exciting. By now, you've got a solid understanding of how teasing, touching, and tension work together to create powerful flirting interactions. Flirting is an art, and like any art form, it takes practice. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. What matters is that you go out there, start experimenting with these techniques, and build your confidence over time. Flirting is meant to be fun, so let go of the pressure to be perfect and just enjoy the process.